Today I want to tell you a funny story. I have a mentor that's helped me walk through the last 9 years of recovery. Um, he's much like Rick, into his 60s, incredibly sharp man, had an affair. And we were talking one day at this Italian restaurant, I'll never forget. And he looked me right between the eyes, which he's different than Rick. Rick doesn't always look you right between the eyes. He'll kind of look off into the distance and drop this big truth bomb on you, and you'll just kind of like shake. This other mentor looks you right between the eyes and just delivers truth in a way that you just go, if I look away, I look stupid, but if I keep staring at him, I'm going to start crying, so I don't know what to do. And he said, I just want to ask you to consider how difficult it is to live with you and be married to you. And I kind of choked on my food. I was like, let me think about it. And then he kind of, let out this big belly laugh. And it's really true. And it's a principle that has helped me in my recovery. My recovery, it'll be 10 years in another month or so. And every few months or so a year, I remind myself of that saying. I just have to realize and remember how difficult it must be to live with me. The mentor looked at me and was like, just consider it. I mean, you're kind of loud, you're moody, you're addicted to coffee, your mood swings are pretty high, you do want to have intimacy with Samantha a lot, you're a great guy, but you're not the easiest to live with, and I just kind of had to embrace it. And so today I want to ask you, especially the unfaithful, but even the betrayed, I want to challenge you to consider how difficult it is to live with you. I know, and today's one of those days. I was working this morning and I was reminding myself of how difficult it must be to live with me. Yeah, I understand my good qualities, but I have to remind myself pretty frequently that I can just be a moody, up and down type of person. And I have a lot of faults, and I work hard on them. But have you reminded yourself of how difficult it must be to live with yourself? It may help you. Now, if you're a betrayed spouse, you might be really pissed right now, and you might say, well, what does this have to do with it? I'm not saying that their affair is your fault and that your difficulty caused their affairs. Not one bit at all. But just inherently, aside from the infidelity, maybe it would be good to remind yourself of how difficult you can be at times. If you're an unfaithful spouse, you absolutely need to really think this through and think about how difficult it must be to live with you. Because it may give you some humility. It checked me that day in the Italian restaurant. It stopped me in my tracks and made me have to think, if I'm really being honest, I am kind of difficult to live with. Does it fix everything? No. Does it transform your recovery? No. But it will help you. And it's going to have to start with you. And so you're kind of culpable, because I'm not going to give you this big speech that a pastor or a priest might give you, which is, well, it starts with the man, or it has to begin with the man, and the man goes to the cross first. I've heard all those things. I'm not even going to talk about them. But I am going to say it has to start somewhere. Whether you're unfaithful or you're betrayed, it's starting with you. Ask yourself, is it difficult to live with you? Yeah, I bet it is, because you're just not perfect. And I think if you can learn this principle and remind yourself of how difficult it must be to live with you, I think it brings you to a place of humility. I think it brings you to a place of awareness. And if it does that, then it's a win. So I don't want to go too deep today, but I want to challenge you to ask yourself, how difficult is it to live with me? And if you're finding a point of humility, you're probably going to see there are some things in your life that make it a challenge at times. So be real honest. Get down to ground zero. I think it'll change the way you see things. And don't let it become, well, does my spouse understand how difficult it is to live with them? Probably not, but it's got to start somewhere. So maybe it's starting with you getting this revelation, because if you get it, maybe your spouse will get it. Or maybe you get this revelation so hugely that then you go to your spouse and share it, and then maybe they get it. But it has to start with you. Why does it have to start with you? Because you're watching the video blog, and it's coming right for you. So if you just push aside this truth, and if I had pushed aside that truth that one day from my mentor in that Italian restaurant, I wouldn't be where I'm at today at some level. So it's starting with you. I hope it helps you.